Here's all the tools you need to make the changes. You need a small punch. That's a 3/32 punch right there. Some needle nose pliers or something smaller like this. I use a Phillips head screwdriver to put that spring back in, but you can use a small bladed screwdriver with a little notch in the end of it. I really like to use a dental pick of some sort to get the little bitty springs out with, move stuff around with. I've got a magnet. If the hammer pin was hard to get out, you'd need a starter punch. And I think I got that one from CGW, I can't remember. Anyway, I've used it on the 75Bs. You don't have to have it on the 09s. Then this is a stand that 75 Plus made, and makes a nice work stand at the shooting range or in the back of the truck. Also at home if you don't have a vise. A soft padded vise works great. If you got an area under the vise that you can catch parts in that you won't lose them. First thing we need to do is remove the hammer spring. You can do that with a little punch and just push down on the table and get the spring seat. Move a little bit, take the tension off the pin. You can push the pin right out, then pull your punch out and move the spring. Down on the ejector and push out on the pin. If you'll notice, I'm going to pull the spring out, take it out, lie it down, take there we go. You have to just turn it around to the back side and then it'll come out. Then we're going to take the other side out now. All you have to do is push down on the trigger bar and clear the other side. Just like that. Lay it down, let your trigger bar come back up. Then what you need to notice here is what the relationship is of the various parts. The disconnector is on top of the trigger bar, and the firing pin safety block faces to the rear and catches in the little notch where the sear is. So kind of need to keep that in mind when you put all this back together. Now the next thing to do is to remove the ejector. The ejector holds in the sear pin. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the ejector forward and then up, but there's a spring under it. So you got to be real careful about the spring. You don't want to launch the spring that's in that hole down in the frame that's holding the ejector up. It's spring pressure. You can see spring pressure holding it up. So it's that spring underneath the ejector that you don't want to launch. When you see the shape of the ejector, you'll understand what I'm trying to do here. So what you're going to do is pull it out like that, and then rotate it up, and then remove it from the gun. You can see the shape of the part now, where it just rolls in under that pin and fits just like that when it's holding the pin in. So just rotate it, push it forward, and then rotate it up, and then remove it. That's that. Now the sear pin is free. There's a groove in the sear pin that the ejector ties into. So now all we got to do is push from the right side, push the pin out the left side. You can see it coming out, and that pin will come all the way out. If you look at it now, you can see the groove. And I'll show you there. That's how the ejector holds the sear pin in place. So with the sear pin out, now you're going to look at, you'll see that there's some spring pressure on the sear, and that's because there is a spring right here. You can barely see in the video. There's a spring under there. So what you got to do is put your finger over the sear and pull your punch out like that, and then slowly let up on your sear, and then you can remove the sear. Like that. Put the sear down. You can take the firing pin safety block out. It's got a little bushing on it. The bushing just is a fit in the firing pin safety block, so lever. So you got to be careful with it. It fits down in there, and notice the direction that it fits. It fits just like that. So you need to remember which side the little bushing goes in and what the orientation is of the firing pin safety block lever. Now I'm going to show you how to get the bushing out. Just like that. Bushing just comes right out like that. Put the bushing down, let the lever down. Now, if you'll look, you can now see the sear spring, and because you can see the sear spring, the kit comes with a stouter sear spring than the stock one. So we can take that out, lay it down. That spring is actually the kit spring. I've already put the kit in this gun, but it's the procedure's the same. Now, if you'll notice, what you got left is the hammer and the disconnector. And what you need to notice is how the disconnector fits relative to the trigger bar. Let me rotate the gun so that you can see this. You can see the trigger bar. It's just nearly clear. There we go. But when the trigger bar, when everything's installed right, the trigger bar is under the disconnector. Okay, so we're ready now to remove the hammer. So we'll rotate this back around where we can see it. And on the hammers are chained by a little groove underneath the disconnector. So what you have to do to get the hammer pin out is raise the disconnector. And if you raise the disconnector, just like that, now you can take your punch and push the hammer pin out to the left. When you get it out, you can see the groove that the disconnector fits in, keeps the hammer pin from moving in the frame. Lay that down. Now, your hammer comes straight out of the gun. Get out. I had my stand was blocking the hammer and the hammer strut. Okay, see how it goes? Take that out. Put the gun down without dumping the spring. Okay, look at the hammer. Notice where the curvature is. There you go. And then notice how the disconnector fits on the hammer. It's just like that. Okay? Now, this is the kit hammer strut, or the kit disconnector and the kit hammer. Now on a 75B, you typically have to use a starter punch to remove the strut pin. On the P09, at least mine, that wasn't a very tight fit, so you could use a regular punch to get it out. I don't think it matters which side you take it in and out of, but what you have to do to swap the hammer is drive that pin out, take your strut, put it in the new hammer, start the pin, set the pin in so that the strut's oriented in the right direction, and so that the pin doesn't push out on either side of the hammer. So it's flush on both sides. You can't feel the pin. So that's all there is to it. And we take our new hammer, put a little oil on it, and we put the disconnector, the new disconnector, on the new hammer, and insert this into the gun. Sorry about that. I had to take it off my stand because the stand's in the way of the hammer strut. Okay, you notice I got my disconnector in right. It's sitting on top of the trigger bar. See, like that. There we go. So we're ready to put the hammer strut back in. The hammer pin back in. Notice where the groove is. Stick it in the frame. Try to find it. There we go. Use a punch to find the hole. And then, there we go. Get the pin in all the way. You got to get the pin in so that it's locked. Otherwise, your disconnector won't drop far enough. There we go. Now, pin's fine. Check the pin, push in on each side. The pin won't move. Then disconnector's caught in the groove. Everything's fine. Here I've placed the sear back in its approximate position in preparation of putting the pin in. Sear pin in, and we've just set the sear in there. You can tell it's not far enough back. Get it back a little ways. Start the sear pin. You can see how the sear is hooked right here in this little notch, and how it's over the sear pin or over the spring, and you got the sear pin there, and you've got the disconnector over the little arm on the trigger bar. So go ahead and push that pin in a little more. You have to push down on the disconnector to make clearance for the pin. There you go. Now, I went too far, so we're going to back it out just a little bit. There we go. Then we're going to set our lifting block. There, I'm going to try to do it left-handed so I don't get in the way of the camera. Set our lifting block with the roller in. Try to set it in there. Got the pin in a little too far still. There we go. Take the punch. Center it up. And got to kind of push down on the sear. There we go. Now we got everything. You got to push your thumb down on the sear to get it going. Then just kind of got to work it. Get everything lined up here. There we go. Got it. It went as soon as I got everything lined up. Okay, that's how it's supposed to look. Just like that. So you can see everything works, nothing's in a bind. Sear spring seems fine. Just like that. What we got here is you got to slide this in like that, place it like that, and just keep sliding it, push it back. When you push it back, it'll stay in place. If you don't push it back far enough, it'll fly out. Don't ask me. Set the Decocker spring where it goes, like that. You got to rotate it. The little pigtails pointing forward. There we go. Then put your right side lever on. Push down on the trigger bar. Rotate it into place. Just like that. And then take your left side bar, start it in, not quite that far. Get the spring started, work it, work it, work it. There you go. I had to push the trigger bar down just a hair. Okay, Now, you can see the decocker works. Everything works. The only thing we've got left is that little pin. Is the spring, getting the spring on the tab. That's the secret, I think, is holding the, can't tell it, but I'm pushing up on the lever on the left side so that I get a better shot at the angle here. There, got it. Hope you saw that. Anyway, now you can see it's hooked behind the little pin. Whoops. It's hooked behind the little pin there. Go ahead and reinstall your hammer spring, and then we're ready for a little function check. When it's finished, you can cock it. You can pull the trigger, hammer will come down, trigger bar will cycle. There, everything works fine. Okay, now I may put a little oil on this thing, but that's all there is to it.